Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts with breaking news.
Our tracking breaking news. Fire crews responding to a large house fire in Waterloo at this very moment.
That's right. Our Maria Kay joins us now live from the scene. Maria, you've been there for about an hour or so now. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Erin and Therese, from what we can see right now, fire crews are pretty much wrapping up here. There's still a pretty large cloud of smoke, as you can see here on your screen. They were fighting that fire for quite a bit, and they brought out the hoses to sort of douse that fire, I'd say around 6:30. In the past 10 minutes, the fire crews, police crews have started to make their way out. There is still an ambulance here on scene, but we do want to take you to some of the video that we got right when we got here. Now, this video that you're seeing here is right before 6 o'clock, so just over an hour ago. And as you can see in that video, hopefully, the flames, they were massive. It was a massive fire. And as I was zooming in on the picture too, hopefully you could see that a lot of the infrastructure from the house, unfortunately, has come down. Still, we don't know if there are any injuries or anything from this fire. We don't know if anybody was inside the house right now. And we believe that this started around 3 a.m. as well. As we continue to work to learn more, we're going to keep you updated both on air and over on our website, firstalert6.com. But for now, we'll send it back to you.
That's Maria Kay reporting, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on First Alert 6 Streaming. I'm Therese Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. Of course, I think a lot of what I noticed yesterday driving around has just been, really was sludge. It was a lot of just like slushy, wet kind of snow. A lot of that has been now cleared to the sides, except for some of those side streets. So what should people expect today as they head out the door?
Well, there's going to be some slick spots, especially since we had a clear sky overnight and we dropped the temperature down. So that has refrozen it in some areas. So that's going to be something to keep in mind as you head out and about. That clear sky will help us in the long run, but in the short term, that's something to be aware of, is that you're going to encounter some of those roads, especially as you get into some of the neighborhood side streets that have those slick spots. And we'll walk through some of our current traffic issues here in a bit. 22 degrees though as you step outdoors, so it's pretty chilly. 12 is our wind chill, and that's a bit of a breeze that we have. It's not nearly as strong as what we were seeing, but it's enough that it is definitely adding that chill to the air. So the winter coat, the hat, some gloves, probably a good idea as we start things off today. Here's how things go for the rest of the day. Lots of good news here. We'll continue to see the sunshine stay in place, and by the time we're getting to about midday, we're already getting above freezing, and that will really kick that melting into gear. We'll keep that as a case into the afternoon. Highs that end up into the mid-40s. So it's a little shy of average still. Our average high this time of year is 54 degrees, but it's a step in the right direction. And what's more is the wind is going to be calmer today. We're looking at about 5 to 15 mile per hour winds throughout the course of the day. And at their strongest, maybe a gust or two that gets near 20. A big step forward from yesterday. And we're going to have some wind in the forecast after today too. So enjoy while things are calmer for today. This is what it looks like over the next couple days. You see that things just continue to step up with those temperatures. In fact, as we're starting off tomorrow, we'll actually be above freezing at that point too. So the snow is not going to stick around all that long, and we'll have 50s for our Friday, 60s as we get into our Saturday. So that's going to feel a whole lot better for us and give us kind of that taste of spring, which is officially here at this point.
Yes, happy spring, everybody. So hopefully we're done with the snow, but not done with the precipitation just yet.
Yeah, we've got a few systems that make their way in over the next couple of days, and that is going to make it for a weekend where maybe it's not as impactful as what we saw yesterday, but it'll be a nuisance for your plants. So let's walk through what to expect with that. You can see part of the reason, windy for our Friday, breezy as we head into our Saturday, and we do have that precip chance as well. So starting off tomorrow with the cloud cover, as I mentioned, we're above freezing. And despite the clouds, we'll actually see things step up to around the 50-degree mark by the time we're at the noon hour. So the first half of our Friday is actually pretty solid. Then we get a cold front that comes in, and you can kind of see that break in the clouds. That's where we're seeing that swing through. And as that comes through, we also swing in a few spotty showers, maybe a rumble or two of thunder alongside that. There you can see that showing up in Iowa on this particular model run. I don't expect this to get all that strong, but again, a couple claps of thunder going to be possible alongside some quick showers. Those sweep through from northwest to southeast in the afternoon into the early evening, and then they're gone by the time we're getting toward about 8 o'clock or so, and the rest of the evening looks pretty quiet as far as precip anyway, because it does get blustery. We'll turn those northwest winds up with gusts up around 35 to 40 miles per hour as we go through the afternoon and into the evening hours. And this is going to be a pattern that we continue to see as we go through the rest of the weekend. A lot of cloud cover on the way. Saturday is probably the best day. We'll be in the low 60s for our highs. The winds won't be quite as strong. Gusts up to 25 miles per hour to the southwest. And then Sunday we start off again with a few spotty showers that'll be around. The gusts turn up even more, 40, perhaps 45 miles per hour with that, with mid-50s for our temperatures. But as we look at this entire forecast, we keep that pattern going. Every couple days we get another front that comes through and brings a chance for some light precip. But 50s and 60s are what we're looking at for our highs, and that's going to be a lot more spring-like, a lot more agreeable for what we see as we make our way through that forecast.
Okay, so the snow is, of course, it stopped falling, but that doesn't mean people can just gun it to work today. Of course, there's still many slick spots outside.
Yeah, it's not a complete shutdown, and sometimes that can almost be more of a problem because people kind of let their guard down. So don't do that this morning, because we already do have some issues that are in place as we're starting off our day. We've got a few crashes that we need to talk about, and one of them that just cleared was causing major problems on I-80. This is as you are approaching 60th. You can see some of the delays that still remain in place at this point, but this crash is no longer in place, so should continue to see things get better. Other crashes though, 180th and Burke, you can see how things are quite slow there just south of Dodge, and that those delays do extend up to the interchange with Dodge. Don't be surprised if you run into that if you're trying to exit from Dodge to 180th. Also had a crash in Northwest Radio and Fontenelle with some occasional delays. You can see those kind of stretching back toward Benson along Northwest Radio. I think the road conditions are going to be something that you just need to keep in mind. A lot of our main roads have been mostly cleared, but with the temperatures dropping, as we mentioned, there's some refreeze that you need to be aware of, and there could be some slick spots that you run into. And then as you get into some of the neighborhoods, you still have roads that aren't cleared. It's also the case as you get outside the metro. Any of those purple roads you're looking at, those are roads that are completely shut down at this point. So it's going to be a morning where you just continue to use caution as you're heading out and about. You may still run into some issues. And coming up here in just a little bit, I'm going to show you the road conditions map itself and give you an idea of where exactly we're looking at roads that maybe are partially covered, completely covered, or just closed.
Okay, appreciate that. All right, Jared, take a break. We're going to do some news now. We want to talk about those power outages that have really plagued the metro. Right now, less than 30,000 customers are still without power. About 20,000 are in Douglas County. That number has actually gone up since the last time we checked. OPPD says it is working around the clock, though, to restore all that power.
We also have the latest outage numbers from two other energy companies. About 4,700 Mid-American customers still without power, with Council Bluffs, Sioux City, Fort Dodge among some of the most affected areas. As for the Nebraska Public Power District, around 1,900 customers do not have power.
Well, there are still some arrivals and departures at Epling Airfield that are canceled or delayed this morning. On the Fly Omaha website, you can still see some red, although it's much better than yesterday. A reminder, if you are traveling this morning, make sure you keep an eye out on your flight status. Well, drivers who did venture out yesterday may have noticed that many traffic signals needed to be treated as four-way stops.
Either they were snow covered or had lost power. Papillion City crews tell First Alert 6 they have managed to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to battling the blowing snow. Here's what the city is now focused on.
We go into pothole repair, street repair, and sign repair after a storm like this.
He says Papillion is ready to salt the roads when they refreeze overnight.
In the midst of the outages, the Salvation Army is opening 2 warming centers in Omaha for those who need it today. The Crocs Center at 28th and Y will be open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Heritage Place at Renaissance Village at 36th and Cumming will be open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
A reminder, trash collections for Omaha and Council Bluffs resume today. So if your trash day was yesterday, it will be picked up today. For those who haven't had their trash day yet, that will be delayed a day the rest of the week.
And a reminder, you can send us any photos or videos from the storm. You can just go to our website. It's firstalert6.com. There you will also find the most up-to-date forecast as well as a list of closings and delays.
Well, the madness is just about to begin for college basketball.
Here we go. We'll hear from Omaha and Creighton as they get set for their NCAA tournament showdowns. Welcome back, everybody. Today is going to be, so much better than yesterday.
So many different ways, too.
Calmer, we're going to see some sunshine, and that means lots of melting.
Yeah, if maybe you just were so done with what we saw yesterday.
So done.
So done. The good news is we don't have to deal with it that much longer. We've got sunshine on the way today. Yeah, as you step out the door, it's going to be cold. You're going to be looking at temps that are in the 20s, feeling like the teens out there. But all this snow that's out there that you need to keep an eye out for as you head about your commute. We do still have some of that covering some of our roadways and also some slick spots that are going to be present. That's going to go away pretty quickly as we keep that sunshine in place. Crystal clear sky at the moment, and we'll have a lot of sunshine throughout the day today. Here's a look at what it feels like out the door, though. It's going to be cold. Dress warm with those wind chills that are in the teens. By the way, where you're seeing these stations that don't have any kind of temperature displaying, or maybe like Lincoln are missing, some of those stations got affected by the storm too. No power to some of these. Others that ended up with some issues as a result of those strong winds. So hopefully we'll get things back more normal as we get the power continue to come back. But there's where we land this afternoon. Mid-40s for our temps. A lot of sunshine. Lots to like about how today goes. And temperature-wise, tomorrow looks pretty good too. We're into the 50s. We actually start above freezing and we'll continue to warm through the day. By the afternoon, we bring another front through that brings some spotty showers and really stirs those winds up. So be prepared for that. It'll come from the northwest, swing those showers with maybe a couple rumbles of thunder across the area to the southeast. And the afternoon into the early evening is the peak chance for when we see that. Gusts that get up around 40 miles per hour, so be ready for that in the PM hours as well. Then once we get to Saturday, a breeze out of the south, not as strong. A lot of cloud cover, but staying dry during the daytime hours. At night, maybe a couple of drops. By the time we get to our Sunday morning, another chance for some spotty showers that roll through from northwest to southeast. And behind that, we'll stir the winds up once again with gusts that get up around 40 miles per hour. So you're seeing a cycle that's taking place here. couple days later, we get into Monday night into Tuesday, some spotty showers that become possible in the area. Again, from northwest to southeast. This is just the way the pattern is set up at this point with how systems are tracking, and we're going to continue to do that over the next several days. The good news is, as we go through the next several days, we're pretty consistent with those temperatures. We're talking about a lot of 50s for highs, getting up in the 60s for Saturday. I maintain that Saturday does look like the day to circle if you're looking to get outdoors this weekend. The lightest winds and the warmest temperatures come then.
All right, and looking at the whole 10-day too, it doesn't look like anything is too extreme as far as going back into the winter weather. Could we be done?
It's looking more and more like it. I can't commit to being just yet, but I can say there's a lot to like about the way things are looking long term. And if maybe you were not dealing well with going from 30 degrees to 80 degrees to 40s and calling out bingo numbers for the temperatures, it's looking much, much more consistent, a lot more seasonal. 50s and 60s on into next week. Nighttime temperatures that mostly dip into the 30s, and we'll be seeing just the occasional, as I said, every couple days, getting that round of quick light rain that moves through. And even as we approach the month of April, we're looking like we're leaning a little above average with our temperatures. So maybe we can close the book on winter.
I would like that.
That'd be nice.
We'll
I'm
see.
done. The novel's over for me.
Spring's my favorite season. Let's do it.
Yep.
Here we go then. Jarrett, thank you. This is a lot of people's favorite season, March Madness, and our Blue Jays extra coverage this morning happening today. Creighton taking on Louisville to kick off March Madness. It's also digging up an old rivalry.
Yeah, not between the Blue Jays and the Cardinals, but two Omaha natives, Millard North alum Jason Green and Bellevue West product Chucky Hepburn. Now, for 5 years, the Mustangs and T-Birds played in the Class A state championship. Jason and Chucky split their two title game meetings. Today, they settle that score in the NCAA tournament.
What is this going to be like getting to renew the state championship rivalry with Millard North, Bellevue West on the NCAA tournament stage?
It'll be really fun, especially on a stage this big. I know we're 1-1 against each other in state, and this is a bit bigger of a stage, but I feel like it could kind of be the tiebreaker because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to play against him again, so I'm really looking forward to this game.
You know, I'm glad to see him on the court doing well. You know, I've known him since third or fourth grade. You know, obviously I battled Hunter Salas earlier this year. I played with him since second grade, so, you know, just be able to go back and play my old friends, you know, it's been great, but when we step on the court together, we ain't friends.
I think he means that.
I know, he's serious. All right, this isn't the only reunion. Former T-Bird William Kyle is here with UCLA. Tip-off is at 11:15. All right, after a 3-7 start to the season, the UNO men's basketball team was written off.
Yeah, but look at them now. 4 months later, the Mavs are in Providence, Rhode Island, preparing for their NCAA debut against St. John's tonight. Though the Mavs are considered underdogs, if March Madness has taught us anything over the years, it is that anything is possible.
The biggest thing you do can be optimistic. I mean, if you go in with the mindset that you're going to lose, you're probably going to lose. So you got to have that belief that you are going to win, and no matter the circumstances, you're going to come out with a win. Trusting the coach's game plan and then see where it goes.
Well, a 15 seed has only beaten a 2 seed 11 times in the history of the men's NCAA tournament. We're not going to let that stat bother us. Tip-off from Providence is set for 8:45 tonight, and that start time could get pushed back even more depending on how the other games are running.
Fingers crossed. Best of luck. We're talking about the best of the best now.
We're going to tell you why Omaha can have some bragging rights for the third year in a row when we come back. Well, the Henry Dorley Zoo can continue to call itself the best in the country.
Yeah, for the third year in a row, it won 4 categories in U.S. and today's Reader Choice Awards. The categories: Best Zoo, Best Safari Park, Best Zoo Membership, and Best Exhibit. The zoo thanked the community for their continued support, and it is a great zoo. I mean, that's like when I first moved here, like that's always what people tell you to go and do is check out the zoo.
Number 1.
Yep.
It was one of our first, not our very first date, but one of our first dates was the zoo. Yeah, I was so impressed.
Yeah. Well, it may not seem like it with all the snow on the ground, but today is actually the first official day of spring.
Oh, hallelujah. The first official day of the season represents the vernal equinox in the northern hemisphere. So that's when the sun aligns with the Earth's equator. Well, some regions may still see a late season chill like we are this morning. The promise of blooming gardens, outdoor adventures, patio season, barbecues, swimming pool. I mean, we could go on
The
and on.
crack of baseball bats.
Oh, hey, today, well, I feel like today is my son's debut at high school.
Oh.
So
Okay.
baseball season, yeah, just all those spring things we love.
Here, I actually have always remembered that like the beginning of May, when like the grass is then finally turning green and like the leaves on the trees are now coming back. Like there's always a moment where I'm like outside walking and I'm like, oh, this is like nice now, because it's so stagnant for so long. So I think like spring has a real moment here.
You walk outside and you could just feel it in the air. Everyone's
Yeah.
it's kind of
nice.
like the movies with Christmas. That's how it is here in the spring.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
And not every place is like that, because if it's pretty nice year round, you don't really have that moment of like, you know, we're transitioning from the deep depths of winter into now going to summer. So I can't wait.
So here we go. Let's go.
Yes.
Just
now.
gotta get that snow to melt. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna get ready for our update in the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
Have a great start to your Thursday. All right, some breaking news we're following this morning. Crews were called to an early morning house fire. We have been on the scene all morning. Our Marie Kate and a photographer are out there. Fire crews haven't told us much details about what happened, but we can tell you they called to the area of 252nd and Pacific just before 3 this morning. This is video from that reporter who's at the scene. We'll make sure to update you on air and online with any new details as soon as they come.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
I'm Erin Hartley. A couple crashes to talk about this morning with Jarrett Lansford.
It's a morning where you want to use some extra caution as you're heading out and about. 180th and Burke, just south of Dodge, is where we have one of those being in place, and you can see the delays stretch to the interchange with Dodge. Another crash right near Northwest Radial and Fontenot has occasionally caused some delays. You can see it's slow as you're making your way west toward Benson. So watch for that this morning. There are some slick spots after refreeze overnight. We've also still got some impacts from the storm itself. For example, Giles remains closed lows between 96th and 108th as cleanup continues in that area, and a lot of roads that could still have some slick spots in some of the neighborhoods. Watch for that as you're heading out and about. As we get things going, it is chilly as well. The clear sky with the fresh snow combination that has allowed us to drop things off. A lot of sunshine as we go through the entirety of the day though. So it may be cold right now. 22 feels like 12. You're going to want to make sure that you're dressing warm out the door. As we go through the rest of the day, we'll go from what you see here at this point and turn it into 30s that are above freezing by the time we get to noon and have highs in the mid 40s with a lot of sunshine. And the next couple of days are also going to be giving us some pretty nice temperatures too, into the 50s by the time we get to our day tomorrow. That comes with more wind, so be prepared for that. And then 60s for our Saturday. A couple spotty showers possible late for Friday and again Sunday morning.
All right, Jared, thank you. It is 7:28 and we're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.